I'd hate to be quoted on it, but that's my understanding, because of the difference in ages. But it was mostly the people that went to this church, and of course the Swedes all joined this church, the ones from Paso Robles and all. When they came, there were different families in Paso Robles.
I wonder what they did for restroom facilities and things like that in those cars.
Well, I suppose the old passenger cars had to have.
Well, they had a
Passenger car and a freight car.
Okay, that's what it was.
Well,
Yeah.
the passenger cars had facilities.
It was just all let drop off along the track.
Sure,
you used to see it down here all the time.
Down here all the time.
Yeah.
Sure. They're just now. We're trying to stop some trains from doing it. I was reading not long ago.
Oh, we don't know how much it hits the air, probably sterilizes and goes up.
So.
Okay, then when did you come into Templeton then?
1890.
1890.
I think our father was about 7 years old. And they settled first in the Willow Creek area. And I don't know exactly what year they moved to the place on Main Street.
1905.
I was going to guess
going to
1905.
in Willow Creek?
I don't know exactly what property.
I don't either.
It wasn't clear out because Dad went to the Old Bethel School.
So he wasn't all the way out there then?
So they weren't clear out to go to the Bethel School. They were up in that country up just past some of those Swedes, like, you know, where Clausen and some of those are. There was 4 cousins in 4 different houses that all settled there, got their property, and they could all look and see each other's house.
I'll be darned.
Up where Leo Shuttler's old place and Secret Lovegren's old place, which I was trying to think, the contractor has it now, and Clausen's place, and I think the Mustangi place. They were all cousins, and they could all see each other.
In 1890 you came into the original place. And who built the house? You remember that or anything?
No.
No information. Oh, we never did have any information about that. They sent a group of men from the church out here to buy property and to scout around before they all moved.
I was kind of wondering if it came out cold turkey or what.
No.
No.
They had a committee that came out from that church. I incidentally have visited that church.
Sure.
It looks very much like Bethel Church down there.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Now, I have a piece of wood about this long and this wide with my dad's initials, MTA 05, taken out of that old barn.
I'll be darned.
05.
So that's when the barn was built.
That old barn was built in, it was added onto once. The older part was hand-hewn, the big uprights. You could see hand-hewn axe marks of big cottonwoods.
I'll be darned.
And the part, that's why it ended up sway back when they extended it. You know, then it was newer lumber. But the west side, those corner pieces were, and you could see the axe marks in them. And the smaller ones, I think, were long willows about yay big around, instead of like 2x4s or, you know.
It came out of Toad Creek, the little willow down through there.
Yeah, no, Toad, or out of the Salinas River.
Okay, now did you have the Toad Creek side too in those days?
Half of it.
Half of it.
Yeah, half of it, and the other half was gotten in the 40s. I mean, my dad always pastored as long as I could remember.
They rented it for
years. Mrs. Robinson.
Yes, she lived in San Francisco, and she owned it. And when she died, I think it was put up for sale at a reasonable price, and they just bought it and blocked the whole thing out. I can remember that.
Now, what did you do for a livelihood in those days? Then farm and milk?
Oh, yeah,
cows?
they were. Well, before my time, my dad and wasn't Albert Johnson, and who was the other
Chet
one?
Anderson.
They had the old thrash machine, the old steam engine. Henry and Ed Hovey's dad was a steam engineer on it. And what was it, 26 men and 22 horses or something?
Something like that.
They
You know more about that than I do. I did remember it, but I didn't remember how many horses it had.
I think I have a few old pictures at home of that. Remember that album I had at the office one day? You know, there was a couple pictures of that in there.
Is there ever a chance getting that album again where you copy some pictures?
Oh, I've got it stashed away at home.
Okay. We have a safe place coming up, so maybe we can get you one of these days to go through and get some of those pictures.
But you know, there they went from place to place, and for years there was an old building at home that had been the old cook wagon. It was used for storage.
They used to have the same cook every summer. Her name was Mrs. Erickson.
Was that part of the Erickson family out here?
No, that was a different Erickson. That Erickson family out here was the ones that came in the same car with the Abramsons.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was 4 in that family. There were 3 girls and a boy. And there were 4 Abramsons. There were three boys and a girl. And they all came together.
Well, on buildings, what was the buildings or what was the history around it? We talked about the old baseball field one time was closer, or was that coming up later? And where the airplanes used to land and a few things
Well,
like
of course, that wasn't property we owned, that my folks owned. That was owned by the Wessel family at that time, where they landed out there.
Well, did the Wessel come clear
Wessel
to you?
came clear,
Oh, yeah.
putting her down to,
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
all Wessel's field. Dad always
he
farmed
farmed
it.
it for
Oh.
years.
But that was the Wessels lived in Woodside Bed and Breakfast down there. You know?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I remember Pauline Wessel.
Yeah.
Then didn't you tell me the baseball diamond used to be in there?
Up, what is now, what's that road going to the river called now?
Phillips?
No, Gibson.
Gibson Road.
Gibson Road.
Oh, it is Gibbs. Okay.
One time you could see the outline of the base paths and everything in an oat crop growing there. And
Well, that was a town baseball field.
apparently it was before my time. And I did one day,
I had forgotten that.
working ground there, tear up an old baseball glove.
Oh, we
So that apparently before they played up at the school grounds.
And where'd the airplanes land? They were the military planes used to land.
No, they were just planes.
No, one time 4 Navy planes came in there and landed, and boy, they lined up. The wheat was about yay high.
And Dad was right out there. I can remember that.
And the guy said, I expect to be met with a shotgun, you know, the one in command of them, but they were afraid they were running out of gas. He said, you send the bill to the Navy. But see, that field used to run from, 100 yards south of the old barn, clear down to Gibson Road, and that's where they landed, see,
Mm-hmm.
in that flat part there.
Well, the thing that was most upsetting about that, I can remember that day. I don't think Red can. I don't think he was
I
here.
remember him in there barely.
But anyway, all the locals from town came out on foot, and they were tromping down.
Yeah, on top of the green too.
Tromping down Green too.
Probably did more damage than the Navy.
Right.
But at other times, planes did land in there,
Oh, frequently.
you know, and I remember one time some fellow was landing there, you know, taking people for their first airplane ride.
Director Fruit said he remembers some people getting rides in there.
Yeah, I can remember them landing in there, but there, you know, there was no crop or anything when they did that.
Okay, from that time then, when did you start school?
I started school when I was one of the first students to go in the first grade in the Templeton Grammar School
What year was that?
in 1920.
That was the year Carl graduated from high school.
Yes, that was the year Carl graduated from high school, and he took
you
me to
started.
school in his cut-down Ford every morning and dumped me off. And the school wasn't completely finished. They opened up the first and second grade room, but the other grades were still going in the old school, which was across the schoolyard.
Across the schoolyard.
Isn't that what they turned into the old gym?
They tore that building down and built the old gym out of the
Out of the material.
Other material.
Uh-huh.
So the existing grammar school was built when?
Well, I was the first one in there. It was opened in 1920.
Okay.
The buildings that exist now.
Because the high school that's gone now,
Or-
wasn't that built in 22?
22, I think, yeah.
22.
Well, that was the old high school up on the hill.
No.
No,
The old one was tore down when that stayed. They moved off the hill in 22.
I can remember that plaque, I think like you, that said 22.
I think my dad was the first ones into the new high school, and that was in 22. But the grammar school was built in 20 then.
Yeah. Dad was on the
I was
school.
wondering where that lumber came from, out of that gymnasium.
Well, that's where it came from. That I know. And Dad was on the school board when they built the new high school.
I'll be darned. Have you got any pictures of that or anything?
I don't have any pictures.
I can't remember any of that.
I've never seen one
No.
like that.
I need pictures of the old gymnasium and some of those.
I don't have anything like that. See, by the time I was 17, I left here.
Mm.
You
went to the big city?
Well, I went to Berkeley for 4 years, and then I went to business school for a year after that, and I went to San Luis to work. Then I got married, moved for 42 years before I came back.
Well, Helen, when did your mother's family come to town?
91.
Well, where were they from then?
Well, they were from back in Minnesota too. They were Swedish.
They had been in that Red Wing area, and then they went out in western Minnesota on the Dakota line for a year or two before they came out. I just refreshed my memory in the old history book, but I didn't get to the Abramsons. I didn't have time this morning. I had too many things going. I was trying to refresh my memory in that county history. I showed it to you.
Yeah.
I was going to throw it in, and I forgot it.
We'd like to get some of that.
But that had, it told where the Hansons came from in Sweden, and, you know, and they settled in Minnesota.
Where'd you get that book? I didn't even know you had it.
Well, you've got one too, haven't you?
I think so.
There was two of them, and
Yeah, I think
Ted got
so.
one and I got one.
I
That's
don't-
something that.
Written by Annie L. Morrison.
It's about this
Well, I
thick and
didn't-
it's
I-
wonderful.
Oh,
don't know
I remember that. Now,
if I know
it
where.
was about this big.
Yeah.
But
It's a county, I think
it was a county thing.
it was written in I think the later teens.
You had to
I-
pay. You had to pay to have your article put in there.
I'll be darned.
I think you're mentioned in it, but Ted and I
And if you
weren't
wanted
around
your
yet.
picture in there, it cost you more.
Yeah. Well, and I remember now there was this thing like so of Dad, and he didn't have his picture.
Yeah. See, mine is pretty
Hansons
beat
had-
up.
That's well, mine's in as bad a shape as that.
Is it?
Well, they had a hard life. The Hanson had their picture in there.
One did and one did and one didn't. I know. The Abramsons didn't and the Hansons
didn't,
did.
but the
Or
Hansons
I
did.
ran onto the Hanson one, and I had too many things going. I went.
Well,
I had an appointment, and I got there. There was a note on the door: "We're closed, no power. Hope to be open at 10."
It'd be a book fun to go over some night with some
oh
people.
yes, it's fascinating.
Go through
I'd
it. put
forgotten
some-
about that.
Now that both sides of the family are mentioned in there
Yeah.
when they
Both have
came.
articles. Which one did you look at, Red?
Hanson.
You looked at the
I
Hanson.
was trying
Okay.
to sort through and find the other one, and I didn't have time.
Uh,
I meant to throw. Well, you got one there. I meant to throw it in there.
I know that Grandpa Hanson bought into the Paso Robles Agricultural Works in 1898.
He bought Peter Lundbeck's
Yeah, he
share.
bought
Be done.
Lundbeck's share from because Lundbeck's brother had died, and there's a woman that lives over around the corner from me who was Lundbeck's granddaughter.
Now the
Goosey.
the front of that old building that was the agricultural works is now the front of the Pioneer Museum.
I'll be darned.
I can remember going in there when Bill Lundbeck was in there and seeing the old slings they had for putting the rough
That was
horses
a great,
into
great big guy.
yeah, to shoe them. You know,
Our
they,
grandfather was his part of the thing was to build wagons.
yeah, he was a
Well, he was
wheelwright.
wagon master.
In fact, the article in there, in that says when he did his apprenticeship and who he worked for and then bought into
Who? Hanson, you're
Hanson,
talking
Carl
about?
Hanson.
I couldn't. I called Marion Goosey and she couldn't tell me when he sold it, but I'm guessing it was about 1913.
It may be in there. I don't know.
Did you get out of school in you're 17 years old?
Yeah,
Then you went to high school there? And
I graduated from Templeton High School in 1931, and with 16 students in the graduating class, 60 students in the student body, and I was sent to the University of California at Berkeley, where they had 10,000 students.
But you feel kind of lost down there, or up there.
That's putting it mildly.
Now, Arthur did work as a young shoeing horses in the
Oh
old,
yeah.
in the old agricultural works.
I'm trying to think of any other buildings around. You can tell us about.
Now the old, you remember the old line of walnut trees on the road?
Yes.
Uh,
I forgot all about them.
Old Garth Harrington's, as a little boy, helped plant them. I think, now by gosh, this brings back a memory. I think some of his family built the original barn
Yes, I think they did. I
of
remember-
old Garth Harrington. You remember old
Yeah.
Garth? Yeah.
I remember him coming over one day with Gene and I think it was Russell, his little boys, and they wanted to take a picture of the barn one Sunday.
Yeah, that's where the barn was. First part of it anyway, was originally built.
Now, who started on what was your flowers you always had?
Daffodils.
Well, when did the daffodils start?
The daffodils started basically when my folks got married. Somebody gave them a dozen mixed bulbs, tulips, and everything like that, and that's how the daffodils took off in that soil. And the others didn't.
And what year was that then? It's when they
19
got married?
1913.
1913 through until
Well, Bonheim after we sold the
70s, I
place,
guess.
yeah.
you had them there the whole time. Got a lot of people got daffodils there.
Well, that was the old landmark, the barn and the daffodils. In fact, I was in court on the jury one day when I was called into the jury box. Old Judge Lyons sat there and told all the people about the daffodils in the barn before they interviewed me.
Good old days.
In
Good
Superior
old
Court,
days.
you wouldn't see that now.
No.
At least,
No.
unless it was on TV.
In later years, you had some property down the river. Was that?
Well, that was the original property, yeah, of the original place. There was actually 4 lots, 2 lots below the railroad and 2 lots above the railroad. Now you know where that railroad property is.
Mhm.
You know, the old railroad bed came in around the inside of that. And my dad saw 8 cars roll off there one time.
Is that those pictures you see once in a while around the old railroad?
No, those I think are the trestle down here one day in a big wet year. Train went off the trestle right down by your property. They brought
There was some of those that were down by our place.
well, that's some of those others might be.
Because I can just barely remember that, Rick.
But see, that had to be in the early 20s.
I was a little tiny kid.
Because all of a sudden there was survey stakes going through the property, and that's when they straightened the track out there.
Mm.
And all those original railroad ties had the numbered 23 in them, which meant they were put in 1923.
You know, we had what was Ed Nicodell's dad's?
Allen, Truman Allen.
Truman Allen. When did he come in? That would have been your neighbor to the
But
east.
long before my time.
It was before my time too. They were there as long as I can remember.
So they were there a long time.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And the Goodells were across the road from the Allens, where she still lives, I think.
She still lives there.
Yeah. But they were neighbors.
Okay, now to the north of you, towards our place. Well, what was in that area there? Is that always a dairy or?
Now, you mean between the shop and our old place?
Oh, that was
Squire's Dairy?
Squire's Dairy. That was originally owned by a family named Melvin Johnson.
It was Johnson, and then there was a Tate, and then Rossi. I mean,
No, that was on your place.
okay.
In between, it was,
Let's
I
go-
can just barely remember when Squire's had a dairy there.
That was just north of you along the road?
Just north of us.
Where the
Just north of Phillips Road, bordered Phillips Road.
Where the
Where it's
sales
sales
yard
yard
is now.
Oh, there was a dairy there.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, Squires, who, you know, their son Lawrence Squire had Squires in town for years, the men's store.
Oh, yeah.
But I can just barely remember as a little kid when and then,
Well, I can remember the Johnsons before that. But when I think they left and went down south when I was about 6.
Okay, then, what was the next?
I think they sold us, I'm not sure, Lauren could probably tell you this. They may have sold to the Squire,
Johnston.
Johnston's.
And-
Then there was that little place in between, just about a house and a small lot, and that was owned by a family named Gibson, and later, Howard Hawkins bought it and lived there for a long
Oh,
time.
that's up there, yeah.
That's between,
That's where
between
Fred
us,
Healy lived for a long time.
Okay, Fred Healy.
it's between us, that was between us
Yeah.
and with the Johnson Squire place that we're talking about.
Okay, then as you come further north to our place, what was there?
First I can remember there is, being on there was Art Buchanan, but they always called it the old Brophy place.
Well, I can remember the Brophies.
And that was a dairy then?
I don't remember what they did. They might have just farmed. There was a big yellow house that burned years ago, and that was the Brophy house.
Where was that house?
Well, it was north of where the Buchanans.
That was up where the old abandoned milk barn is now.
Okay, he's up in there.
That up in there, yeah. As I understand it, your mother-in-law's house was originally started for a milk barn.
Have we done? I didn't know that.
I heard that. It was-
Maybe that's the reason.
Oh,
that's why it's out of blocks.
Bricks and coal.
I was in that house when it was first built, visiting the Buchanans. Buchanans built it.
Oh, they did.
He had a business where he made cement blocks professionally, and he would also go out and build cement
Cement pipelines.
pipelines.
Well,
That was
that's
his business.
Well, that's reading the ranch. You got so many cement pipelines out there, all over there.
Yes, because that was his business.
After he left the ranch down there, he was just across the 13th Street Bridge where they're throwing Christmas trees now. He had
Okay.
a cement pipe plant there for years.
And then from Buchanan, who went in after that?
Lenhoff's dairy there for a few years. Lenhoff Brothers. Till Henry Tate bought it.
And Tate and Rossi
Then Rossi, and then Steve.
and Stephen.
Yeah. That's the way that went.
Well, that was after 1931, so I didn't know about that.
Well, I think that there's no doubt, I'm sure that Lenhoff's just had a lease on the place. Probably from the Brophies, see? I think Tate brought the place from Brophy family.
Okay, now when you come back, where the old gal lived right across the road there.
Housing, Mrs.
And
Housing.
Housing.
Housing. What happened? What was in there?
Okay, there was 3 houses, on that hill there.
Chaldean's was one of them.
The first one was Chaldean, where Bozo plays.
Mm-hmm.
Then the 2-story house, I can't off the top of my head say who was there before Mrs. Housing. Okay, I remember when Housing moved there.
Was that where Gibson was? Fred Gibson?
Is that where Davis lived for a while in the old red house?
Davis lived up there for after my time
Wait a minute.
in
Then,
some house up there.
When the highway was built there, they told Mrs. Housing that house couldn't be moved. And somebody bought it and moved it down, and Ethel Davis lived it down on the other property for years.
Oh, that's the same house. They
That's
moved
the
it-
same house
slid
was
that
moved down there.
So that was the Housing house at one time.
Yeah, that house.
The Housing was the old shoe repairman.
Yeah, he was
Oh,
the old
yeah.
shoe repairman. I can remember when they came to town because they first lived where Valora's beauty shop is, right next to Hewitt's, before they bought that place out there and moved out there when the boys were little.
I'll be there.
And the next one down, I can remember a Figgith lived there at one time. And then Clem Hansen, you remember Clem Hansen probably,
Was
Bill
it
Hansen.
Butcher, right?
Butcher and Richie Peterson's, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess then the next in there must have been Caldwell's.
Fred Gibson was in there when we got married because we parked our car up there. So Walt Tidrow would know where it was.
Well, maybe Fred,
See, he was Hoot Gibson's brother.
well,
And
Well,
he
there
was
were 3
around,
houses
that was
there.
in the 30s.
that was the old housing house, that's coming back, yeah. They lived there.
She
And
was a
then-
music teacher and he was an auctioneer.
Then she died, didn't she?
Yeah.
And he married the Will Hoyt boy's mother.
You know, be sorry.
They lived down there halfway to Tascadero.
Yeah.
Okay, then we kind of
Oh,
slip
wait a
up along the road there.
For a while, Fred Gibson lived over by, gosh, though, where,
Well, didn't he get married twice after Grace
well,
died?
that I don't know. But didn't they live for a while too where the sales yard is now?
Might have, I'm
I
not
think
sure.
they lived in there for a while too. Between Squires and Leon Labordi.
See, Leon had those little houses. Are there any old houses up there? Are those, yeah, I didn't think those are too old.
No. The old barn that used to be up there, Squires built it.
Okay, now coming south then from the housing, where Nelson's got. Now, what was in there? Was that always Nelson's or?
First I can remember in there was a family by the name of Fausting. I think they were Indian, weren't they?
He was white and she was Indian. And they
Boston.
had, I think it was 2 children.
Yeah,
Was that
boy
the
and girl.
Nelson place?
The old Nelson house. Who now?
Off of Horseman.
Off of Horseman. Horseman ended into it. Yeah, that was, and Nelson still owned some property in the area before that, because I can remember he used to raise alfalfa. Where Raisewell is now,
Mm-hmm.
and there was no power, and he'd come down there and flood irrigate it, and you could hear that old
What is
one
it?
lunger gas engine pop, 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 pop.
I remember that.
Where's Ragewell? Is it down below?
Oh, you can see it. It's about 100 yards in from his driveway and about the
Oh
middle
yeah,
of that
yes,
flat.
yeah, I know where it's at.
Yeah, and they used to have 3 or 4 acres of alfalfa in there, and they lived at the time in this old 2-story house across from State Lumber up on the hill there. They moved down there from there.
So they built that place down on Main Street.
They built that, yeah, they built that when they sold the upper part to old John Silva, the old boy that had the backhoe.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was the Nelson house where he was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's when
And
he,
yeah, what-
when he got that, they had built, Ray had to build him that new house. Well, it's gone now.
Okay, now who's had the place for Woolworth is back in there? Tommy.
That's been in the Wilhoit family as long as I can
Will
remember.
Hoyt's lived there at one time.
It
I-
still is. I think Tom still
I think
owns
Oh
it.
yeah,
still
Tom
owns
still
it.
owns it, I think.
Now when I wouldn't know, Tom could tell you, I
You got his name down. We'll have to run Tommy down.
bet. Because,
Oh, I know right where he is.
you know,
Was he in here?
No, he's in Atascadero, but we've been there many times.
you know, their father was the old Presbyterian minister.
Yeah.
Oh, he was.
So
Oh,
they
yeah.
lived in
Yeah.
the Presbyterian manse and then moved out there. So I can barely remember. So who lived there before? I don't know, but I'm sure Tom could tell you.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he could.
Okay, now who coming a little further south, the house that your folks moved into, Jerry? Whose house was that? Right there at the Y of Main Street.
No, that's where Ted and I lived when we got married.
Oh, that's what it
That
was.
was built for their grandmother.
Yeah, they built that for my grandmother, my dad's
Yeah,
mother.
they built that in 1913.
Well, they did.
Mhm.
So that was an Abramson house.
That was, yes, that was always owned by the Abramsons.
It was on
That
the
was-
corner of that property.
There was the 3 acres in there, right at the corner of Old Country Road.
Old
Yeah,
Country
right at
Road
the
and
Y.
Main Street.
Yeah.
That's been gone for a few years now.
Yeah, burned down one Halloween.
You remember what year that was?
No.
It was
Oh,
torched.
Yeah, it was.
Well, you'd moved out of it and it
We
was.
was-
moved out
it
and
was
it had been
vacant at the
rented
time.
2 or 3 times, but it was vacant when it
Mm.
burned down. It was just too easy a target for somebody Halloween night.
Okay, on the corner of Old County Road now. Wilson's used to have that across.
Yeah. Well, before Wilson's, the old Downey property. You mean the
The Y
the
there.
point?
Point.
That was the old Downey family.
In the Downey that used to live by fruits.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
See that?
that's a house, it's a flower shop now, isn't it? The old Downey house?
No, it's
Yeah, that's
a
your
travel
Simmons,
agency.
isn't it?
Travel agency.
Travel agency.
Travel
I know it's a business
Travel
place.
agency. Now that house was moved a little bit when they redid the road in '29, I think. Old Oscar Downey used to drive school bus when I was a little kid.
I always thought the Downies were a younger family in there.
Oh,
Well,
no.
there was one of the boys came back and was here for
Willard.
Willard, yes.
Yeah.
But
He
he
came
didn't
back.
live there.
No, he didn't live there. He drove for Rossi for quite a few years when he came.
Mm-hmm.
There was Willard, and there was another one. Roland was the
Roland,
older one.
well, he was injured badly and, wasn't around too much. He had a family, but he lived somewhere else.
Well, the Downies